What is up, Titans? Welcome back to a brand new Titan Season 3 update video, and this one is going to be mainly about the Red Hood solo series, but also we've got a few updates for production of Season 3 and some other tidbit details that I think you guys are going to find very, very interesting. By the way, if you haven't seen it already, but I think a lot of you already have because a lot of you enjoyed it, and I'm glad you did, check out my last Titans video, and it's about why Titan Season 3 might redeem the show for fans. And obviously I'm not speaking about every single fan, but it's no surprise that there is a majority of Titans fans or just general fans out there of the Batverse who have a problem with this show, may have given up on it, and you know, I think Season 3 could be the one that could rope a lot of people in. But either way, back on point with this video. Yes, I'm finally talking about the Red Hood solo series, and I didn't really want to address this before a lot more tangible stuff came out, but I feel like now is maybe the time we can get into that. And then, as I said, there's some production stuff I really want to share and talk about. So I will be sourcing Villian from the Vulcan Reporter. You may have heard me reference his stuff before in his articles. At the same time, though, of course, take things with a grain of salt, maybe towards the back end of this video. But as for this, maybe not so much, because, well, I'll get into precisely why in just a second. So the HBO Max streaming service, which we all know now Titans is on, as well as its sister shows, Doom Patrol, etc., is developing a Red Hood solo series. Apparently, the show is supposed to be a spin-off of Titans. Red Hood is what the character of Jason Todd, obviously played by Curran Walters, becomes in the third series of Titans. And yes, believe it or not, by the way, that there is talk of another spin-off show that we'll get into towards the back half of this video. So as for this, yes, there is actually quite a bit of merit to it, because guess what Curran Walters uploaded to his Instagram the other day? This, what you're seeing on screen right now, with the eye emoji. I think this is kind of obvious. I mean, sure, there might be some people commenting right now, this could mean anything, man. This could just mean, yeah, Titan Season 3, HBO Max, you know, hype. No, this is fairly obvious. He's kind of low-key getting at his future possible show coming to HBO Max. So it's important to know, as of right now, supposedly the title is just Red Hood, but there is also the possibility of it pertaining to Red Hood and the Outlaws. I'm sure many of you Red Hood fans out there are very familiar with that. Now, where I think this show could go in terms of if it's just Red Hood or Red Hood and the Outlaws, you could argue in a similar mirroring arc to the comics after taking a turn as a villain, which we will be seeing this season. Initially, after emerging as Red Hood, he may very well start his own rough and gruff team of other characters, with Jason Todd / Red Hood as the leader, as he tries to kind of low-key seek some redemption for his actions. Now, I don't think it would necessarily strictly mirror that very reasoning, though. I think it would be a little bit of that, though, but it could just be about Jason as Red Hood doing his own shite, so to speak, finally, not being held back by Bruce Wayne or Dick Grayson. Like, think of the times he put on the suit in Season 2, you know, he wanted to go out, but we had that moment where Hawk, Dove, and Wonder Girl went out there, as well as Dick, but Grayson, you know, told him to stay behind. So this show could just obviously be about him coming out the other side of Red Hood, you know, in Season 3, like in the comics even, but he goes about doing his own method of, you know, anti-esque heroism the way he sees fit, without being held back by anyone like Batman or Nightwing, and possibly goes about forming a very small team along the way, as at the end of the day, even with this show, if it just does stick to the title of Red Hood, you still have other series regulars that no matter what, it wouldn't just be Jason Todd. There would be other characters that he bumps into, even if recurring. So I'm super, super intrigued as to who else they could involve in that. Now, long story short, for those who don't know as much about it, originally Jason formed Red Hood and the Outlaws with Starfire and Arsenal. Now, Roy Harper has been teased in the show before, as we know in Season 2, and there were murmurs behind him kind of, you know, coming to Season 3, but it seems that decision was never really set upon, and we know that Roy is literally out there, as as he helped Donna and Starfire with intel about Shimmer last season, so Jason could perhaps bring him aboard if the show is truly greenlit into production, which apparently it kind of low-key is. Now, as for Starfire, I'm really not sure. I do think that she is kind of the mother bear of the Titans with Grayson, and also, as I always say, these are adaptations, so the show wouldn't strictly have to adhere to the 2011 comic, and it would just give an original approach, but also share common themes with, the idea of Red Hood and the Outlaws, with just Jason going off and about on his own, but perhaps along the way forming a team or some allies. Now, I don't necessarily think, just to address this, because some people may be asking in the comments, I can see already, about Ravager joining, Rose, especially with their relationship last season. Maybe, but she did say her home is with the Titans now, as she said herself, but bear in mind, this is all with what I'm saying right here, without the added context of what will be happening in Season 3. So just imagine for a second how emotional things are gonna get with Jason coming back in a freaking red mask, serving as the first half of the season antagonist, to only then kind of likely be low-key redeemed, but out in the wind, maybe by the end of it, and maybe Ravager will find a place in her heart to go after Jason, and that will pave a way for her to go on in his show. And that's another thing, guys. Do you think that Jason will just kind of be taken down and there'll be like a grand kind of confrontation that will result in like a very kind of rough reconciliation? Or do you think he'll just go off in the wind, beaten, before moving on to the Blackfire arc, and then that will leave space for a massive time jump to when perhaps the show would take place in the future for his anti-hero days ahead? And speaking of this, as for the timeline, I imagine, as speculated in this article as well, it wouldn't be immediately after Titan Season 3. I can imagine if Jason is licking his wounds with whatever resolution of his arc will be in Season 3, whether that is, as I said, a cold reconciliation with him and the Titans, that maybe there will be perhaps around a year's time skip. And as for the production of this show, like, that is way off. Like, don't forget, like, we're in the pandemic, you have the Titan Season 3 currently in production right now. You get the idea, it's a ways off, and maybe some people having concerns about Titans the show. Does this mean like they're getting tired of that and they're just gonna go ahead with this Red Hood show? Titans is apparently not in danger, as it has been apparently unofficially renewed for Season 4. But also, as I said, speaking about other things, apparently with Tim Drake supposedly coming in Season 3, and, I've mentioned this before in other videos, I have heard this myself, it really does seem like he's coming, and that will probably serve into the grander plot of, Jason's rage, because he just may have been replaced by Batman just like that again. We still have yet to see how all of these pieces of the puzzle fit into place with Red Hood's arc next season. There are also murmurs of him having his own spin-off as well, a Teen Titans series, that is if fans receive him well in Season 3. Now, this isn't really unusual. This isn't anyone saying there is a Teen Titans series happening, definitively. No. Ideas like this are chucked around all the time with stuff like this, if there's potential there for shows, for characters, but, it obviously all banks depending upon, the fans' reception of that character. I mean, think like Green Arrow and the Canaries. They did a backdoor pilot. That's kind of the thing with Tim Drake, I guess, in Titans Season 3, and there is potential for a Teen Titans show, as well as, obviously this Red Hood one, which is supposedly actually happening, especially with the teasers from Curran Walters, and they're kind of like spin-offs, as you will look at like Doom Patrol, as they appeared in Titans Season 1, Episode 4, even though it's not the same Doom Patrol, but you get the idea. Now, as I mentioned, there is kind of some bonus information that I haven't made a video on. Starting with the oldest before I get to the newest, there is a new Starfire look shared by the cinematographer of Titans. He's teasing some other things, like we'll get to see Beast Boy and stuff soon. Hopefully we do. But interestingly, Starfire doesn't have her red hair here, and this is confirmed not to be an old photo. So those asking about a flashback, or if this is like a original Season 1 finale photo, nope, this is Season 3. Now, as for why her hair has changed, sure, you could just say she's dyed it, but let's get a little bit more interesting than that. Well, we do know that her powers have essentially more or less gone as of the end of Season 2, so I'm wondering if her hair color is changing just because of her lack of powers, and maybe that will be significant to her arc, and as she regains her power in the fight against her sister, maybe she just physically manifests that. We're gonna have to wait and see though, and I would love to know your ideas down in the comments below. On top of this, from the Vulcan Reporter as well, they're saying that Blackfire is more powerful than Starfire at first, and this is kind of self-explanatory. It does make sense with, as I just said, Corey having lost her mojo last season, and Blackfire, as we saw with her introduction right at the end, she just completely wrecked that guy into the side of a car. So it does make sense for Blackfire to be a lot more equipped than her sister. Now, whilst we're also talking about Corey, apparently she is also going to hook up with that psychiatrist she hooked up with last season. Again, interesting. I don't know, is it? To be fair, actually, it might be. Like, I generally was just going to leave it there, but now I'm thinking more upon it. Since that was, I mean, do you remember that scene? They were kind of getting together, then he literally actually genuinely offered her some therapy because of her issues. Maybe he could actually be helpful to her in other ways this season through actually giving her some therapy that might alleviate some of the problems she's having with her power loss, because for all we know, it could be psychosomatic. And if he gives her some sessions and in therapy, maybe that will be the key to unlocking her confidence back with the fight against her sister, and she'll manifest her Starfire powers once again. Now, on this front as well, I think I spoke about this before, but Beast Boy is apparently turning into other animals, and I think that's another self-explanatory one, or should I just say one fans I think could have safely expected, even though we haven't had that properly other than the snake beforehand. But season 3, I mean, like, come on, there's got to be something on that. And on the new animal front as well, apparently the tiger CGI is redone, which I think a lot of fans will be happy with, because there's been a lot of complaints in that department. And supposedly Corey and Beast Boy will be getting new looks, or should I say kind of suits. And you have to expect, like, season 3 now, like, Corey better get a Starfire suit. I mean, considering they had one for season 1's finale, and we didn't get that in season 2, and I think with her arc this season, it makes more sense than ever for her to, you know, rise up from, you know, falling low with her mojo now being gone. She regains it back, but she gets it back also with the addition of a new suit. It just feels like that really does make sense, and that is a piece of the puzzle that just fits nicely with her storyline next season. And that just about wraps it up for this video, guys. I wanted to kind of keep it kind of quickish in terms of all of this information. The only thing I have left to say is I really hope that we get the casting information for, like, Barbara Gordon and other characters like that, like Scarecrow, because where is it? I feel like we need more to talk about. Season 3 is literally filming right now, so I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done a press release giving us additional details like that. But either way, everyone, let me know your thoughts on everything I had to say in this video. Please leave a like on it if you did enjoy. It takes 2 seconds, and yeah, just really helps out the channel. And other than that, if you want to talk more about Titans and other things just like this, I do have a Discord server which I engage quite a bit in. A link to that is in the top pinned comment, as well as other places you can follow me, like my Twitter page, as well as my Instagram, and other places to support me, such as Patreon. And you can always click the join button on this channel, and hey, if you fancy some Boba merch, you can get some of that in the top pinned comment. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Titans in the next video. Goodbye.